I took this GT7 license instructor and put him in the most unreasonably tuned car possible to keep him unfiltered while interviewing him. Inspired by a combination of Hot Ones and Top Gear, my goal was to take the drivers you know from GT7 and disarm them by making them drive a car that wants to flip like the Reliant Robin and interviewing them while challenging them to set the fastest lap they possibly could. Welcome back to the Star in an Unreasonably Tuned Car Challenge series. This week we have another one of my absolute favorite people on earth, Daniel Solis, aka Dodge Lamb, who you may know as the first licensed instructor in the single-player campaign, the two-time world champion in GTWS, or possibly because every event he's made, he's done so on the controller. I'm here with Daniel Solis, aka Dodge Lamb, who you may remember as the man who introduces you to and helps you through the first license tests in GT7. He is a two-time world champion and famously known for making it to the world finals multiple times while using a controller. He is here, willing to be tortured in person for our Star in an Unreasonably Tuned Car Challenge, and without further ado, let's get started. And I'm realizing that it made no sense to have that disclaimer before this, so I'm going to say it one more time, and through the magic of editing, we're going to make it seem like that never happened.
It did. I was never here, actually.
Exactly.
In fact, I'm not here right now.
You don't actually
This car is driving itself.
What car?
I don't know, because I'm not here.
Exactly. 10 laps into the interview, my entire PC froze, so we're hoping that doesn't happen again, and unfortunately that means that he got a little bit of experience. In fact, there's his ghost. So, luckily the car is still diabolical and an insane choice, but it's not quite as scary for him anymore because he has 10 laps of experience. Regardless, we will move on. And by move on, I mean start all over again. He had some fantastic answers to all the questions that I had. In fact, we're going to call them the best answers ever. No one's ever going to be able to know what they are.
And now they're not going to be as good now as they were last time.
There's actually going to be, at the very least, a 2% degradation in answer quality.
That is the way of life.
All right. What's the origin of the name Dodge Lamb?
So, as some people may or may not know, I used to play a lot of League of Legends, about 10 years worth, and I used to be a Fizz main. I was everybody's most hated mid laner for a long time, and I was a hard-stuck diamond player. Like, the worst breed of League of Legends player you could be was the hard-stuck diamond player. Sometimes plat, but mostly diamond. But Riot announced Kindred, and I was like, oh my god, Kindred looks sick. That's like the coolest character ever. And so I started playing a bunch of Kindred when they came out. Kindred is a lamb and a wolf. They're like the eternal hunters is their title. They basically they kill people that are supposed to die, I guess. And I always used to have like pun names. So when I was a Fizz man, I had like Fizz in my pants. I had some others that I can't remember because it's been so long. But obviously with Kindred, I had to make another pun name because that's just the way I am. And so Dodge Lamb.
How did you not flip that?
Carefully. Because Lamb and Dodge Ram, obviously. It became a match made in heaven, and so I became Dodge Lamb, and that's how everybody knows me nowadays, usually. Other people know me as other things, but for the purposes of Daddy, for the purposes of racing,
That's true.
it's Dodge Lamb.
Excellent work, actually. That was okay. So earlier I claimed that the answers would now be 2% worse. They're actually 3% better.
Some would say 20% cooler, but that's a bad meme, and I feel bad for saying that, so I never said it.
I don't actually know that meme.
You don't
maybe
need to
I
know
need to be on the internet more.
Nah, you don't need to be.
Have you ever raced competitively with mouse and keyboard, since we do know that you are a controller competitor?
So, in the good old days of the past, the introduction to like competitive racing for me was a funny little game called Project Gotham Racing 4, and obviously I played that on controller because it's on Xbox, right? As I roll this car gracefully. So I did play that on controller, but that was kind of how I learned the fundamentals of like racing other people and, you know, learning to drive properly, because, you know, the wee kid in me was the Gran Turismo 4 player that used all the AI as walls and, you know, wall grinding and cutting and all that. It was fun. So, you know, once I got a little bit older and, you know, stimulation became a little bit harder to come, I had to figure out how to race properly for fun, because that ended up being more fun. And after PGR, I started doing a lot of PC gaming, and there was a lot of Trackmania for me, but the big thing was Grid. So Grid 1, 2, and Autosport I played on keyboard. And I also, in Grid 2 specifically, I raced a lot with somebody that you guys may know as Grandma Driving. And their old YouTube name was MSWGR. And for reasons that you don't need to know, we're not going to call them that. But Grandma Driving, they used to be mineral water on Grid 2. Would always be in a lobby with Amphi and mineral water. And we were like the two big keyboard players. Obviously, I dropped off, so he's now the keyboard king. But there were a couple leaderboard challenges in the Grid games. In Grid 2, there was the Rockstar Challenge, and then in Autosport, there was the Intel Challenge. And I did both of those on keyboard. I won both of those. And, you know, I would still get banned from a lot of public lobbies for using keyboard because everybody couldn't believe that I was capable of doing that. But, yeah, there for a good few years, I did a lot of racing on keyboard with those games. And I got really comfortable with it. And obviously, I moved to controller now because of GT and other things, but it still holds a special place in my heart. I think Project Cars was the game that broke my ability to keyboard, as it were.
Great time.
Thanks. It's almost as if I practiced this.
That Optimal's looking pretty shiny.
It's looking a little beefy, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I see what you did there.
That's so funny. That's called humor.
What's that? How long did it take you to get used to the wheel when you first started trying?
To tell you the truth, I'm not used to it. It would be a lie to say that I'm used to wheel. Because I don't really get a lot of time to do that. In fact, most of the wheel practice that I get is pretty much just at live events because I don't have... there's a combination of reasons. There's like nervousness, there's impatience. You know, the impatience of I want to be good at something, but I don't want to actually get there. Stubborn brain. And then just the fact that I don't want to blow up my apartment to get a rig set up are like just a lot of contributing reasons to why I haven't been able to drive on wheel. A lot of it is excuses, to be fair. I'm not gonna pretend like it's impossible. Just it's kind of hard to fit it in with my current lifestyle for a lot of reasons, and so I'm definitely not used to it. But I feel like I can do well enough just from not making mistakes and just running my own race that like it still tends to work out.
So you say that you are mostly focused on just staying safe, staying alive when you're on your wheel?
I mean, think about all the World Tour events where cars that have been really good have failed to make success because of various different mistakes, whether it's from them or other people. As I clobber a wall, that's what I'm going to do in LA, promise you that. But I mean, you've got, and you know, like Porsche spinning at Spa, you've got Mazda's various misfortunes, which, to be fair, one of them is not the driving, but the TV shutting off on them. But, you know, there's
so bad.
various reasons that lots of people have gone to world tours, and despite their very obvious skill and dedication, they've managed to end up having results that they didn't exactly want. So I think the biggest lesson you can take away from driving at live events is just run your own race, be smooth, be confident, but, you know, don't mess up.
Were you confident when you passed the former world champion and current actual world racing driver Igor Fraga in the wet at Spa?
Definitely wasn't confident. In fact, it's, you know how they say, well, I say mostly me in reality. If anybody knows me and they've been in parties with me, they know that sometimes when I'm behind somebody, they brake early, and then I dive right up the inside like super late, and I go, oh my god, they braked way too early. But I think even if you asked Igor, and maybe it's because he was on the wet tires while we were on intermediates, but Igor definitely in that moment braked way too early, and it caught me by surprise. So I had no choice but to dive up the inside and make the pass stick, and thankfully it did, which is which is a good one. Funny because that was a very gratifying moment in my short-lived GT career. Is that I remember all the way back in 2019 when I drove for Alfa Romeo. I was at Laguna Seca, and I could not for the life of me get around Igor, even though I was in the completely ass-broken Brk For 4C. And I tried so hard, and I couldn't make it happen, and I was like, damn, I wish I could get this guy. And then, you know, fast forward all these years later to Spa, and I finally got his number. So it was a gratifying feeling, but to tell you the truth, yeah, it was definitely not a move I was expecting. I was not confident, but it happened, and it was sick. And, you know, everyone liked it.
I jumped. I'm pretty sure I jumped directly out of my seat.
It was a good feeling. But what's really funny is I thought that was like almost a highlight sort of move. But if you look at, like, you know how YouTube shows the most viewed parts of the video?
Yeah.
There's like nothing there.
I know how that goes.
It's a hollow memory.
I passed two guys at the same time on the inside at the Porsche event. Didn't even show it on the broadcast.
Sounds about right. I think I'm figuring this out.
It seems like it.
I got a feeling, but it's really hard to pull off.
Yeah, I can see you were right on the edge on that one that you flipped. What's the best controller you've ever used for racing?
Personally, I think the DS4 is the best controller. I actually don't really like the DualSense that much personally. It's fine, but it doesn't hit like the DS4 does. And then I also think that the 360 controller, like as old and plasticky as it is, I do think that it had a really good feel to it. So DS4 first, 360 is probably a near close second. And then the One controller and the DualSense are around the same for me.
Okay.
They're not hugely preferred, but they're serviceable. Especially the One controller. That thing has awful triggers. I don't care what anybody says.
That's interesting.
I hate the way they're shaped. They were not made for fingers.
A lot of people who are not necessarily extremely competitive on controller talk about how much they love the haptic feedback in the PS5 controllers. What are your thoughts on the haptic feedback for controller driving?
So haptic feedback is a weird thing because I personally don't like it. And the big reason why is because over all these years I've built a lot of muscle memory on being able to fine control the triggers myself. And one of the big things that haptic feedback does is it creates interference in the triggers, especially because of resistance, and it like tries to simulate force feedback in a way. And I found that in my experience, the haptic feedback just interrupts my ability to fine control the triggers the way that I want to drive the way that I want to. So I've personally found that the haptic feedback is not for me, but I understand why people use it, and I do think that it's a useful tool in the right circumstances with the correct usage. But personally, in my experience, I don't like it. In some cases, I even turn vibration off. Like, that's how little I prefer those.
I think you mentioned that to me years ago, and I completely forgot about the fact that you sometimes turn off the vibration. I can tell you that other people, and not everyone, I obviously haven't talked to every single person who's competitive on controller, but other people who are really competitive on controller also turn off the haptic feedback. Just something to think about. When did you first attend a Gran Turismo event?
My first event was the FIA, back when they did it, the FIA GTC America's Regional Final in Las Vegas. That was in 2018. And that was a weird year because I didn't have my passport. So it didn't matter what came in that event. I was never going to the final anyway.
Oh.
But that was my first event. That was also my first time using a wheel. And that was my first time realizing that I absolutely hated it because I sucked at it. And it destroyed a lot of my will to be competitive at the time because it was just so demoralizing to suck ass like that. I didn't get reset. Weird.
That is weird.
But I remember that event. It was interesting because I picked a shit car on purpose because it was all I knew. And that was before I realized how much better a lot of other cars were, so it was a big learning experience for me.
Which car?
I drove the Brk 4C because it was all I knew at the time. It was my manual choice. So,
have they finally added an engine to that car?
You could say that. It has top speed. This has top rolls.
It does. It's top heavy.
But back at that time, it definitely needed some love. It was an okay car, but it wasn't like... The meta cars in GT Sport at the time were so dominant. And there were a lot of much better choices I could have made at the time, but that car was definitely not one of them. But it was a fun event. It was kind of a taste of what the game could have been like, because it was a lot of fun, and there were a lot of unique experiences that we're missing now, especially with the live events now the way that they are. And I think a lot of people harken back to the good old days of that regional event and like having all those people there that you can hang around with because they're part of your region, right?
Yeah.
That's an experience we'll never get again, and it's one that we all cherish a lot. The Porsche events were like a good throwback to that almost, because it was kind of similar. Obviously, near a third of the players, but there was that sense of familiarity that kind of brought some good vibes back.
Was it 32 people went to the regionals?
It was 30.
30 people? Back...
It was 30, and it was, as I suck this, it was based off of like sections. So you had, I think it was the US and Mexico, South America and Canada. I can't remember specifically.
Right.
They had it sectioned off in 3 groups, but
11-1.
we're getting there.
Very nice.
We're
Your
getting there with
optimal
our
is really
22
nice.
laps of experience.
Speaking of over 30 people, yeah, they used to fly so many people out in GT Academy 2014. I was one of 32 people that they.
See, that I didn't know because I haven't. Wow. Wow. I haven't experienced GT Academy at all. I haven't like researched it or watched any of it. I know nothing about GT Academy.
It was a
unironically.
wild time, really wild time.
I even like, if I had been on my PlayStation back in the day, because I had been mostly Xbox and PC, I was like living on PC at the time, especially with League of Legends. If I had known about GT Academy in 2013 and later, I probably could have done it myself.
I bet.
But I just wasn't playing my PlayStation at the time. Wow, that's like 5/10. Oh, I could slay this if I just got it right.
Yeah.
Look how I get it right on the lap where I fucked everything up.
It's really funny, to be honest.
Cut that out.
No, we can actually say that word here on YouTube.
Oh, sick. I love doing that, by the way. Oh my goodness, 6.5 tenths.
That's an interesting time. That's a lot of ones. For number 1, okay. How many GT events have you qualified for on controller?
All of them.
So how many is that?
It's a great question. You keep count because my brain's not here to keep count.
Hit me.
Vegas, Germany, Austria, New York, Tokyo, Monaco, Australia, Austria, Monaco, and now it'll be LA, I think. I think that's everything.
Okay. And then the 2 Porsche events, did you count those?
I did not.
12. That's crazy.
It's a pretty good number. It's not Karatza levels, but
He's insane.
he's also big.
He's the buffest dude.
He's
I met him
big
in
in a very-
Monaco.
He's big in a very respectable way.
He's very nice. I bet I made
He
him
is,
feel
yeah.
really awkward because when I first met him and I saw him we were at a club in the after party in Monaco, and I walked up to him. I was like, "Bro, you're huge." I'm like, "I'm pretty big. You're huge." And he just kind of smiled. He's like,
Walk up to another man and say that they're huge. See how that makes them feel.
"You're huge, bro." So I actually remember the moment we were watching the trailer when it was revealed that you were the licensed guy. I started almost tearing up a little bit. I was very happy for you. What was your reaction?
It was interesting because I didn't know I was going to be the licensed guy, right? I just knew that I was going to be in the game and I couldn't talk about it, but I didn't know to what extent it was going to be. So being the licensed guy was kind of sick because that felt like a culmination of all the effort that I had put in to be recognized to that degree. And it also meant that, like, above all the other people that, you know, are just in the game, you know, I play a larger role to the memory of the players than just being in it, right?
Absolutely.
I'm that annoying license test guy that everybody gets pissed off at, wants to get rid of on track. But at least I'm known for something, right?
I think a lot of
So
people
that's,
probably have a positive memory about it too.
Positive is debatable. Go on Reddit.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, can
very
you get
true.
it?
Oh,
Oh, sick.
that is the record.
Sick.
That is the current record, and your optimal is 0.6 faster. What's your favorite racing game of all time? Actually, you know what? Since there's a lull, even though we're in a corner, I'm going to stop the recording just in case, save this video, and we're going to start it right up. He's on a heater, though. We're going to get to a... Actually, you know what? We're just going to continue. Hopefully, it won't freeze. This is because of the threat of the PC freezing. We're going to pause right now and then restart it immediately. All right, we're back. As you can see, it took like 10 feet of track. What is your favorite racing game of all time?
It's a tough ask. Because this is like, what's your favorite game of all time, right?
Exactly.
Because racing
It'd be really
games
annoying if I asked you that next, too.
Now, my favorite game of all time is different. It's not a racing game, but you know, that's such a hard answer because I've played so many over the years. But favorite.
What is your favorite game of all time?
My favorite game of all time is Oblivion. Everybody that knows me knows I have a love boner for Oblivion. It's perfect in every single way, and the fact that they remastered it is the coolest thing ever.
It is incredible.
Favorite racing game. I don't know if I have a favorite because there's so many to pick from. You know, you've got heavy hitters, like you've got, I know it's gonna sound like not a heavy hitter, but I promise it is. Blur was a huge one. Project Gotham 2, Trackmania Nations and United. I had so much time lost to that game. Gran Turismo 3, obviously, and 2. 4 I actually don't like as much as most people, even though it's a phenomenal game. Oh, please don't screw this up. World Driver Championship on the Nintendo 64 is a fantastic game. Extreme G2. There's just like an endless number of amazing racing games that I've played over the years, and
that's a really...
Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. I know it's crazy, but that game was on another level. From like presentation to music to feel, like it's such a great feeling.
That's
game.
A genuinely amazing game. It has my very favorite band. Hold on. My favorite band, the Mars Volta. The only time I've ever seen an official remixed song by them.
I was about to say
was in
joke.
that game.
I thought it was going to be really funny for a second, but I decided against it.
Should we save it for later?
It's just not going to happen.
Copy. Do you have any advice for controller players?
Sensitivity 10, obviously. That's the most important thing by a country mile. Don't be too aggressive. It's so easy to just cave into being way too aggressive with your steering inputs, but smooth is king. Smooth will always be king, and you have to find a way to build muscle memory in the thumbsticks. Unless you use motion steering, then you're an alien on another planet. But steering muscle memory is the most important thing. Braking is also huge. Look at how I flubbed such an amazing lap.
God, that was a crazy lap until that very moment.
Yeah, it's fine-tuning all your muscle memory. You got to get to a comfortable place where you understand what you need at all times. And it's hard to give advice when I'm driving something this crazy. But I know that with a lot of controller players, the biggest issue is over-aggression. And that's a very hard habit to get rid of, but one that pays dividends if you figure it out.
I'm personally taking notes because that's my next challenge. I'm going to be a controller guy.
Don't do that. You'll hate your life.
I know. I'm planning on it. What's your most memorable experience from a GT World Tour event?
This is going to sound a little bit embarrassing because it's man-baby type stuff, but Nurburgring was the first, because LA was cool and all, but it was 30 people, right?
Yeah.
The stakes were really low. A lot of people could get there. You pretty much just had to be good, show up, and you were good to go. But Nurburgring was the first one where it was like, I felt like I had to work really hard. I had to practice super hard to get to where I was. I had to throw everything in the kitchen sink to make that event. It was very stressful. It was very, there were a lot of tensions between people. But when you got there, it was so rewarding, and we managed to capture like all the relationships that we have now with everybody. And it was just a cool event, like as I flipped the car for the 20th time, it's the Nurburgring, for God's sake. To me, it's the greatest track in the world, one of the greatest races in the world, and being able to be a part of it was definitely something special. And I remember the after party. We were, I think, at the mini carousel or somewhere close, and we had like a double decker with building with like a bar on the bottom and then like music and lights on the top.
Amazing.
And I remember just being with like Deffy and Windfire and all the people, you know, just and I was stood over the edge of the roof just looking out into the track, and like tears were in my eyes. Like, you know, this is the first time I dumped something in my life that felt like it truly mattered and amounted to something, because, you know, I spent a lot of life feeling like there was nothing I could do right. I had all these problems. I didn't know how to figure myself out. And Nurburgring was the first time that it felt like, hey, kids, you're like, you're kind of a big deal. Like, you're not shit all the time. This is cool. Take it in. Live in the moment, because you earned it.
I like that.
And so Nurburgring was, for lack of better terms, a fucking awesome experience, and it made me grow as a person in a lot of ways.
I think it's the perfect way to describe it.
And it paved the way for a future where I wanted to keep getting better and keep achieving great things. And it's led to 2 championships that, you know, granted, in the grand scheme of life, it hasn't really done a whole lot for me, but it's still something to be very proud of. So Nurburgring was special.
I think you just answered my next question. I was about to ask you where the most special place a Gran Turismo event ever sent you was.
I'm sorry?
Well, my next question was going to be, where's the most special place that a Gran Turismo event sent you? Where did
It's actually not the Nurburgring, it's Austria.
Really?
Austria is a beautiful country. At least Salzburg, the part that we went to, Salzburg is beautiful. If I could live anywhere on earth, that's probably where I would live. Austria was also very cool. Probably my favorite world tour as a whole. It doesn't have like the vibes and memory that Nurburgring gave me, because Nurburgring was such a big personal push, but Austria was definitely the most memorable in terms of like everything that happened there and how beautiful the place is. And it's a great place. There's not a lot of places that I would personally say were not great. I think every single world tour has been a great place. There have been like worse experiences than others. Like, as much as I love Tokyo as a place, and Tokyo is a, you know, it's like, to a lot of Americans, it's kind of a dream world of its own. That world tour itself in 2019, it's kind of for a lot of reasons. But Austria was a beautiful place. It was a fantastic world tour twice. And I would go back there if I could.
The creative
PD
Gran
needs to send
Turismo.
us back for a 3rd time.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping GT8 will offer more, assuming it happens.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. We're crossing our fingers for GTA. There's a lot of hope riding on it, to be honest.
Just give me more modern GT3s. That's all
Honestly.
I want. That's all I want.
The creator of Gran Turismo really likes a specific outfit that you wore, I believe, in Japan. Will you tell us what that is?
Go watch the Australia World Tour highlights and get to the end of the video where we're all standing together for a picture. It's a surprise.
I like that. That's even better, actually. I do know what this is. I've seen a really hilarious picture of this, and it's beautiful. But Kaz just loves you. And
Do you know
loves
that? Is that a fact? Do you know that? Do you have verifiable proof?
From what
Damn it.
literally everyone who has experienced you two together has said, yes. It seems to be very, very verified.
I want proof!
Should I text him?
Sure.
I think we're both friends with him on Facebook.
Yes, we are. Do it right now.
Kaz, do you love Daniel?
Bet.
Would you rather play racing sims or arcade racers if you had to choose only one for the rest of your entire
Arcade.
life?
Arcade,
That was easy.
But it comes with a very important caveat. Those arcade racers need to not be piles of shit like we have nowadays. It's very important to distinguish. I want my underground 2s, I want my underground 1s, I want my PGR 2s and 3s. Like, I want my Extreme Gs and World Driver Championships. Like, everything arcade racing today is awful. I don't care what anybody says. Unless you're targeting specifically indie, which I don't play a lot of, these arcade racers from like big budget studios are awful. I don't like them. They're really unfun. They completely lost the plot on what fun physics were. I just don't get it. I don't know how it's been like a decade and we've yet to get an arcade racer that isn't terrible.
I loved Solar Crown. Like, when I reviewed it, I legitimately loved it. And then I remember turning it on directly after finishing the review, playing for something, and you came over. Did you come over at that time?
Yeah.
You came over, we played a little bit, and then I tried to play it by myself and immediately got bored.
Solar Crown was too simcadey for its own good and not in a great way. Like, it felt okay to play, but it didn't have that lasting impact of like, wow, I want to play it again because it feels great. It's just, it's a very painfully average simcade. More so arcade, but like, you know,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of like sim feel to it, but it was very mediocre.
Who's the best dinosaur-themed Gran Turismo content creator?
I don't think his name starts with Tyranno.
Mother-
It doesn't end with Rex, and there's no Cyrus in the middle.
Okay.
But if he tries a little harder, he could get there.
Working on it. Randy says European food is bad. Road Beef loves gummy candy so much that he once stole it and it got stuck to his face and his shoulder. Do you have any really interesting stories about food or hot takes when it comes to cuisine?
Okay, so I'm bad at driving this car, and I'm also like the king of bad food opinions, just like I'm the king of bad opinions. And you know, everybody calls me the contrarian. I swear it's not
No, you're
true,
not.
but it is. I refuse to believe it. Keep saying it because it fuels me to not be. But I have shit food views. It's the truth. My favorite food is canned tuna with mayonnaise, whether it's as a sandwich or in pasta, but nothing else.
Hold on.
Delicious. Greatest thing on earth. Dots are the worst candy ever made.
Yeah.
And if you disagree with me, you're factually wrong, and I think most people actually would agree with that. Dots are pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
Necco
good and
wafers.
plenty also exists, so keep that in mind. That's also a front runner.
Thoughts on Necco wafers?
Never had them.
Smart.
Let
Smart choice.
me think, is there any awful food opinion I have besides the true one, which is that peanut butter sucks, and it's just Americans that find that really fascinating.
I had that for breakfast.
I hate peanut butter. I hate you a little bit for that. Why would you do that? Especially with me and your
I even
parents.
offered you some, which is funny.
I know, it's crazy. I hate peanut butter. What like outrageously bad take do I have on food?
Did we get food twice yesterday?
Yes.
What food did we get twice yesterday?
I got chicken tenders twice yesterday.
That's not even a bad opinion. That's just good. That's just
We,
smart.
we went to Carl's Jr. and we went to Cane's because Cyrus didn't even know there was a Cane's in his city.
I will never go back.
Why would you do that?
I like good chicken is the thing.
That's crazy.
Do you have a racing
crazy.
rival?
You're never going to go back because of the other reason.
Because we have to park, and then because I lost. That is a bad story. I'll tell it on stream. What? Do you have a racing rival?
Do I have a racing rival? Well, it's not a rival anymore because it's dead. My racing rival was Def's son, my best friend. We're definitely
Sweet
racing
Def
rivals
son.
because we always pushed each other to be better all the time. We always had to learn from each other because we would always stump each other at random times. And usually it was Def's son over me because, like, how could you argue with such talent, right?
He's crazy.
But especially when, you know, the other half is doing this, flipping this car 20 times. But, you know, Defson always was there to push me to be a better driver. He made me a better person. And he's definitely the reason that I'm at the level that I'm at, even if I'm a little washed up now. He was the main driving factor behind always making sure that I had to figure out what I could do to improve back in GT Sport, because he was always the gold standard. He may not have been European, but goddamn was he fast. And I
He's
feel like he
incredible.
could give most people a run for their money.
Do you consider yourself more of a gamer or a racer?
More of a gamer. I play more other games than racing games is the reality of it. Like, you know, I'm sitting over here trying to hit Eternity and Marvel Rivals. I was like a couple games off of Eternity when the game came out. And, you know, League of Legends, I hit Master Rank in that game. There's so many other games that I play. that aren't racing. And in fact, most of the time I actually don't play racing games. It's just GT is my one thing that I always stick to. You know, until they make an arcade racer that isn't terrible. But until that day, it's gonna be GT. And to tell you the truth, I'm as I missed the brake pedal entirely because I'm mixing my feet up. I'm burnt out.
That's perfect for the next. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just completely interrupted you as you were saying something very real.
No, you're great. I'm completely burnt out on racing, to tell you the truth. My heart's in it for the World Series because I don't want to let my friends down. Like, Killian and Miyazono are fantastic people, and I want to do my best for them. But aside from that, oh my God, I can't. Like, aside from discovering the fun that is LMU and being on that for a little bit, I'm so burnt out on racing. It's insane. I've been doing it for way too long to be able to want to say, like, oh, I'm going to do this today. I can't. You know, I spend a lot of my time just, like, watching stuff now because my interest in games is starting to wane because of how bad they've become. But it's racing especially. Like, please give us some good racing games. I'm begging. Even if it's, like, remasters of old greats. I need something fun in my life again.
Final question. The GT World Series, as we've mentioned, famously doesn't allow you to use a controller to compete. However, this is not GTWS. Would you like to use a controller right now?
I would love to see how this thing goes on a controller.
That's why I charged it earlier.
Sick. All right, let's get in our Mimi gamer position. I want to see this because this is interesting.
It just explodes.
No, you know what? You have adaptive triggers.
You can turn it off real quick.
I don't think it's gonna matter. All right.
What if it's impossible?
It's not it. I've forgotten how to do this. It's controller, duh. Trigger effect, I think that's all I need. This is gonna be ugly. Because I think especially with the way that you can't be precise with controller, like there's always the steering filtering, this is gonna be ugly. Because this car, like, I know only Randy, Tristan, and I have driven it, but it is very, very picky. You have to know what you're doing with it.
Do you think the lack of being able to feel when the car is going to tip is going to be a thing?
No, I can feel it. It's just the steering. Because you can't be precise on the steering. There's always some filtering involved. I feel like it's going to be really difficult when you have to be like just a centimeter on the steering. If you get what I mean.
Yeah. It was going very well for a moment. I always let the drivers do at least a couple laps without me distracting them. This will be...
It's a fun way to do it. A couple laps of undistracted, terrible controller play. This is interesting.
It seems so much harder. Though controller just always seems harder to me.
Well, it's a fine balance because you have to, like, obviously on the wheel, you have to be really fine with your steering input. So translating it to controller is a question of how much can I steer before it's too far. But if I go too far, there's no coming back, right?
Yeah.
You can't, it's really hard to save this. So it's threading a very, what would you call it? Very picky needle.
Makes sense.
That corner is weird.
I hate that corner.
That's the hardest corner on
Yeah.
the track.
I kept flipping there when I was testing out and building the tune. How do you feel about the ridiculous car?
I love it. It's a lot of fun, actually.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun because there's always time in it. Like,
Yeah. Makes sense.
the idea of mastering something like this is very special.
I
Yeah,
think
like,
eventually I'll have to...
so last time I didn't steer enough. This time I steered too much.
Right.
But I also still couldn't get the car rotated.
Eventually I'm going to have to change the car, kind of like what they did with the Suzuki Liana
Yeah.
in Top Gear, and then at that point I'll just release the tune publicly.
Do the caddy. Do a racing caddy.
Do we have one in the game?
Yeah, remember a couple updates ago they introduced the caddy, and you could put like a racing truck wide body on it.
Sorry, I was thinking Cadillac.
Nah. The Suzuki caddy.
Yeah.
I think it's Suzuki, right?
I saw that little adjustment. That was nice.
I tried. It didn't work.
What are your thoughts so far on potential for controller versus wheel on this specific challenge?
On the what challenge?
On this specific challenge.
Controller's toast. There's just no way.
In which case, I'll give you, if you want one more lap, feel free. If not, we can
Nah.
call it.
I already did a 0.5. What else
Yeah,
could I ask for?
That is, I never seem to remember the time. Randy's time was a second off what I thought it was. Was Beef's time a 10:9?
It was a 10.9, yes.
So you are the current record holder.
And based on what laps we're at right now, I definitely would not have gotten that done without the 10 laps or 12 laps of practice. So, thanks, computer. You saved my ego. No, I'm kidding. You can never have an ego driving something like this. But
what I
this is
think about
fun.
Do you have anything to say to the audience before we wrap it up?
If I crash you in a daily race, it's purely because I don't care. I'm over the point of taking anything aside from GTWS seriously. So I know I drive like a bumbling idiot in daily races. It's just because I'm having fun. I'm coming home from work and enjoying what little time I have left playing this game like a little goober and just laughing at everything. So if it ever seems like I'm driving angry or retaliating because it's, what people do, I promise, even after I retaliate, I'm probably laughing. Whether it's at you or at myself or at the game, you got to play this game to love it. And that's what I'm kind of been doing right now, is just messing around on the game, having a good time. I know that my time competing is slowly coming to an end, so I'm just trying to get the most out of life. And I'm glad that there's a lot of people out there that are willing to share that experience. And I hope that what people learn from me being able to compete, if anybody even cares, is that even if you don't have the best equipment, the best circumstances, even if not everybody's on your side all the time, as long as you know what you're capable of and you do your best and you never give up, you can do it too. And I said that back in Salzburg 22, and I will continue to say that. It's as long as you believe in yourself and you know what you're capable of, there's nothing you can't accomplish. So, take it from me. I'm one of the worst people to ever compete at this game, and I have 2 championships. That doesn't just happen because you don't believe in it. So, it's been fun.
That was beautiful. High five. I was hoping you'd crash when I high five you.
Nah, I got focus.
And now that we have a brand new lap record holder, I'd like some ideas on what kind of leaderboard I should make. I once again have 2 more very special guests confirmed, but who else from the AI drivers would you like to see in the Unreasonably Tuned Car? Let me know in the comments, and please give some love to my current members.